Absolutely, and that's something that we have seen for the longest time. Commodore, your reaction also to what Professor Chalani just mentioned in terms of Pakistan's deniability, which remains a constant, and it's something that we can only hope will change with time. But in terms of the international pressure as well, India, of course, has been mounting that pressure to try and isolate Pakistan.
You see, you can see Pakistan's attitude from today's meeting, which happened in Abu Dhabi of the IOC. Mr. Qureshi, who is the foreign minister, Shah Mohammad Qureshi, he did not attend it. He made an open statement because India has been invited there, the Indian foreign minister has been invited there on the inaugural address. He will not attend it. In fact, they tried their best to make sure that the invitation is withdrawn. But it didn't happen because the Islamic world recognized the importance of India. Economically, strategically, take it in any way. But India has made an impact now globally. And Pakistan is not happy about it. It reflects their inner core, I would say, how they actually feel about India. They still have that enmity. They still have that psyche to bleed India by 1,000 cuts. So I don't see any shift in Pakistan's attitude or policies. Whatever they are saying is only probably empty promises or just to improve their brownie points or make score their brownie points by doing this gesture, what they call peace gesture, by returning Abhinandan. Although it's a very good, I'm very happy about it. But we cannot, relax, or we cannot lower our guard against the intentions, their intentions, their plans, which they always keep spinning in their country to carry out terrorist attacks. You see, another very important point emerges at this point, that they have not succumbed to the diplomacy only. They have also succumbed to the military might and muscle that we showed on the borders.
Of course.
All our states, beginning from Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Punjab, they are on full and high alert. We all know that. In addition to that, we had sent our Vikramaditya, our naval fleet, warships. We have the capability to block Karachi completely. We can, block all the traffic coming to Karachi and going out of it. We can squeeze them if we want, and they know it because we had done it in 71 war. And these military communications that we made, non-verbal military language that we spoke with them is actually instrumental in bringing them down. It is, I totally attribute to this, because this is the only language they understand. We have spoken in the language, and we shot down the F-16, which has further sent shock waves around globally, because a Bison MiG-21 aircraft, which is in the museums of the other air forces or the museums of the other countries globally, we shot that that F-16 with this aging aircraft, which is obsolete or antique. This has shaken Trump in his chair, because he felt, how can their F-16, which is considered to be very powerful, they are so proud of, has been shot down by MiG-21. They have been internationally insulted in a way, because you have insulted their very superior weapon with a very so-called, we call it inferior weapon, and they are so proud of it. And what face had they got before Russians now? Is the Russian equipment? What face the NATO has? The Western countries, how did they feel? Because they are very particular about it. You look at the vehicle, they are so possessive about the vehicle, Mercedes, or if they get damaged in an accident, they cover it and then take it away. Or Bentley, or for that matter, Rolls-Royce, they don't show it to the public. Out here we have publicly shot down one of the best aircrafts which they have given to Pakistan. So these are the things which have changed completely the perception of India globally. We are no longer a soft state. This particular attack, surgical attack, aerial surgical strike, we brought in the air dimension. It was different from the land, based surgical strike. There was no element of aerial, strike in that.
Right.
We have completely, changed the global perception about us. So we have to pursue this path because this is the only path they understand. If we relax on this and we come back to, as Ambassador Parthasarathy said, business as usual, you will have then business of terrorism also, coming back to as usual.
Yeah,
it is
absolutely.
corresponding
I think that message
to that.
has been given out very
because
strongly.
They don't understand anything else.
Yes, strongly over the last a few days by India, not once, twice, but on multiple occasions through multiple statements. But the larger message, Professor Chalani, that India has put forth, of course, is a stern message against terrorism and also reminding Pakistan time and again that terror emanating from its soil will not be tolerated, something that the External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, Professor Chalani, also made clear during the OIC address as well.
Well, the External Affairs Minister's speech at the OIC was couched in generic terms. She did not name Pakistan. She spoke about the scourge of terrorism. She spoke about how terrorism is not linked with any religion, how terrorism is a threat to all, how states should ensure that no state is sponsoring terrorism. So she spoke in very general terms that nobody would object to. But let's be clear that unless India imposes costs on the Pakistani military generals, after all, it's the military establishment in Pakistan that's sponsoring cross-border terrorism, not just against India, against Afghanistan and against Iran too. Unless India imposes costs on the Pakistani military generals, there will be no let-up in their campaign to bleed India. And if you look at the latest airstrike that India conducted at Balakot, and also look, if you were to examine what India did with the so-called surgical strike of 2016, both these operations were designed to impose costs on the terrorist proxies of the generals, but not on the military establishment in Pakistan. We have not so far imposed any costs on the Pakistani military establishment, even when the Pakistani military carried out bombings of Indian military sites. Day before yesterday, they came in, they fired some laser-guided bombs, they caused some damage.
Right.
We are told by the tri-services that the damage is not significant, yet the admission that damage was caused to some military sites should have been a provocation, a justification for India to respond in kind, and yet we are holding our fire. So unless we do not impose costs on the Pakistani military, they will feel free to bleed India.
Absolutely. Requesting Commodore Singh and Professor Chalani to please stay on with us as we continue to get the latest visuals on the development that all eyes are on, the return of the Indian Air Force pilot, Wing Commander Abhinandan Varthaman. He is, in a while from now, expected to walk through the Wagah-Attari border. This is, of course, a moment that Indians have been waiting for since yesterday, of course, since the announcement that he will be released by the Pakistani side. Professor Chalani, I want to also ask you to comment on whether or not it was a surprise for you how soon the announcement came from Pakistan. Of course, they had no choice. It was to abide by the Geneva Convention. But were you surprised at the timing of that announcement?
Well, the choice before the Pakistan military decision makers was either to release the Indian fighter pilot or to face severe punishment by India. And the generals were so frightened that they completely closed Pakistan's airspace to commercial traffic. And India kept the generals on tenterhooks by creating a veneer of normalcy in India. The Prime Minister Modi went about his usual tasks and engagements. There was no cancellation in his engagements. And this, of course, drew some criticism from opposition parties that he was still attending election meetings. But the fact that India tried to present normalcy was important because the veneer of normalcy is important to confound the enemy and to keep the enemy on tenterhooks, because you have to act against the enemy when the enemy is not expecting it. So normalcy in India was important to maintain, and the generals in Pakistan were really afraid of India unleashing a wave of punitive airstrikes against their country. So they had to release this pilot, but you see how they have milked this release. The announcement that he would be released was made yesterday, early afternoon, and for nearly 36 hours, they have been milking this for public relations. And the fighter pilot has still not come to the Indian side of the border. It goes to show how they have tried to use this pilot as a bargaining chip, as a PR lever, and as a tool to influence public opinion in India. Most television channels today are not talking about this issue, not about how India can actually show that the Pakistani generals stop sponsoring terrorism. The debate in India has completely changed. The entire focus now is on this captive pilot.
Absolutely, all eyes on the release and the return of the Indian Air Force pilot. Wing Commander Abhinandan Varthaman is all set to, in a while from now, walk through the Wagah border. Let's also get in the latest on that front from our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik, who's been tracking the very latest for us. Anas, over to you. Bring us up to speed with the latest. Talk to us about what's happening right now.
Well, Amali, it was earlier said that the Wing Commander, Indian Air Force's Wing Commander Abhinandan, was to arrive at the Wagah border between 3 and 4 p.m. Pakistan time. Remember, 4:30 is when the parade and the retreat ceremony starts. But around 3:45 p.m. Pakistan time, we saw a heavily guarded contingent of cars going in the Wagah border and the retreat ceremony area. It was said, presumed that that convoy might just be carrying the Wing Commander, and we saw a lot of speculation coming in from the Pakistani media as well. But the Pakistani Navy came in with a clarification that it was not the convoy that had the Wing Commander, but instead it was the regular patrol duty. Just a while back from now, the Wing Commander of the Rangers has also arrived over here. Following that, the Indian High Commission officials, they've also arrived in two of their vehicles. The Indian High Commission official delegation is being led by the Air Attaché, Mr. Joy T. Kurian, the group captain of the Indian Air Force, who's posted in Islamabad. As we speak, there's a parade that is ongoing. It's going to go on for another 2 minutes. And after that, once the parade ends, then the people would walk out this parade. Remember, this parade ceremony, the Indian side had called it off. The guests, they had said that the guests would not be entertained today, but the Pakistan side went ahead with the parade ceremony. In a while from now, in about 2 minutes from now, at Pakistan time, 5:15 p.m. is when the parade ends. Once the parade ends, the people would exit right behind me from this path, and then onwards after that, around 6 p.m. Pakistan time, it is being estimated that Wing Commander Abhinandan is likely to arrive at the Wagah border. Yes, Molly.
All right, so that's Anas Malik helping us understand what's happening right now and how soon we can expect Wing Commander Abhinandan Varthaman to walk through the Wagah border. Also joining us on the broadcast is our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibul. Siddhant, over to you. What is the latest that you are picking up at our end?
Well, all the action right now, of course, is happening at Wagah, and we know there will be a pressure also on the Indian side when he is handed over. Right now, he is still not in the Indian custody. We have confirmed that, and he will be, of course, given to the Indian side, the Indian authorities, the Indian High Commission officials very soon, and then, of course, he will be crossing to the Indian side. But what India, of course, doesn't want is the media glare around the entire handing over. We know that the media glare was pretty much present when Hamid Ansari was given back to India after his 6 years of jail in Pakistan, when he crossed over to Pakistan on fake IDs. But that is another case. But largely, this is a solemn occasion, an occasion, of course, India is keen to focus clearly on the issue of counter-terrorism, because what has happened since 14th of February till today is new threshold when it comes to India, especially when it comes to Pakistan's nuclear blackmail, saying that we are a nuclear power, and of course we can do whatever they want, and of course the nuisance associated with them, especially on the issue of terrorism. So India clearly wants the issue of terrorism to be the main focus. Next important date when it comes to the entire counter-terrorism or India's initiative, when we see on the issue of counterterrorism, is the 13th of March. That is the day when the UNSC, the technical hold, if any country, all the members of the United Nations Security Council, the 1267 committee, anyone has an issue, they can say that they have an issue about Masood Azhar being listed as an international terrorist. That is the day. 3 p.m. New York time is the day. And of course, China is the only country that could raise some kind of reservation, because we know since 2016, India has been for 3 times going to the United Nations Security Council for listing of Masood Azhar as an international terrorist. But we know China has been creating a lot of blockages. So that is the big focus of Indian establishment, and focus clearly on the issue of counter-terrorism.
Absolutely. For now, the focus, of course, at the Wagah-Attari border. Our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik has been tracking the very latest. Anas, as you were telling us, in about 2 minutes from now is when that parade that you were talking about will end, and then we do expect at 6 p.m. Pakistan time is when Wing Commander Abhinandan Varthaman could possibly walk through the Wagah-Attari border.
Well, yes, just a while from now, just minutes ago, the parade has formally ended, and we can see, if my cameraman can show you around, that the traffic has now started moving. So the parade has indeed ended, and the cars are now formally coming out. In about once this pandal it empties out around 6 p.m. Pakistan time, in about roughly 45 minutes from now, it is likely that Wing Commander Abhinandan is likely to arrive. Now, what I can confirm is that he is indeed with the Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs officials while he is being escorted from his journey from wherever he is in Lahore to the Wagah border. He is likely to arrive around in about 45 minutes to an hour. But what I can confirm, and this is coming from the top government sources, that indeed the Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs officials are accompanying the Wing Commander Abhinandan. Yes, Molly.
And Anas, if you can also, elaborate for us the process and the formalities that will be completed once he does arrive at the border. How soon could it take beyond that for him to actually walk to the Indian side?
Well, it would take roughly 5 to 7 minutes. So the process is, once Wing Commander Abhinandan's convoys arrives at the Wagah-Attari border, so where we are, it's beyond this point, it's another 2 kilometers till the immigration counter. The cars will go inside, they'll be parked inside the VIP area, he'll be taken out, he'll go to the immigration room. Immigration room is where the Indian High Commission officials are at as we speak. The Indian High Commission officials delegation being led by the group captain J.T. Korean. There at the immigration room. Once at the immigration room, Wing Commander Abhinandan will then be formally handed over to the Indian High Commission officials, who will then present him the travel documents, that emergency travel document or ETD, that one-pager passport that allows him to legally cross over from Pakistan into India. Once he has been handed over the ETD or that one-pager passport, Wing Commander will then himself be required to go to the immigration counter, get done with his immigration, get his pictures taken at the immigration counter, and then after that it would be just a matter of some seconds when he can cross over that zero line into India at the Attari side, at the Attari border, into the Indian side from Pakistan. Yes.
Right, and Anas, as you just mentioned, for viewers who might just be tuning in, let's remind them that in just a while from now, Wing Commander Abhinandan Varthaman is all set to walk through the Wagah Attari border. As Anas is telling us, that parade has just concluded, and it could be about 30 minutes from now when the Wing Commander will actually arrive at the border, and then it would be a few minutes of process and formalities which will need to be completed, and post which he is expected to walk to the Indian side. As Anas just mentioned, Anas, you were telling us that some High Commission officials will also be accompanying the Wing Commander.
Well, yes, the Indian High Commission officials, there are 3 Indian High Commission officials, the commission officials that excludes the staff that is in those cars. They have arrived all the way from Islamabad to Lahore. They're currently at Wagah. We saw those cars going in as well. The Indian High Commission officials delegation is being led by the wing commander, by the group captain J.T. Kurian, who's also the air attaché of the Indian High Commission in Islamabad. Now he will be accompanying the wing commander Abhinandan, the Indian Air Force's wing commander, from in his journey from Pakistan all the way to India. So once wing commander arrives at the Wagah border at the immigration room, he'll then be given the custody. He'll then be formally handed over, or his custody would then be handed over to the Indian High Commission officials. That is being led by the group, by the air attaché, and then the air attaché would also be accompanying him in his journey from Pakistan all the way to India. Yes, Molly.
All right, stay with me, please, Anas. Also requesting Siddhant to stay on with us. Commodore DJ Singh wants to come in here, I believe. Go ahead, Commodore.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a point, Molly. I wanted to tell your viewers as to why it is prohibited, why it is discouraged that the POW, or for that matter any captor, should not be paraded before the public. You see, in the ancient world, about say 3,000, 4,000 years back, time when Romans and Babylonians and Assyrians and Persians, that all those empires that you can think of, in those days the defeated armies, they used to take them on to their public places and cut their thumbs, because they cannot hold the sword, then they cannot fight, and cut their foot, toe, the thumb of your toe, of your feet. They cannot run, and they used to parade these people before the public as to show that these are the people we have captured, these are the people we have made captive. We're victorious over it. And then after they have paraded them, behind them used to be the victorious army. It was considered very barbaric. It is a very barbaric tradition that you parade other countries'
and which is why the Geneva Convention safeguards against such display, and which is why the Indian side had called it a vulgar display on part of the Pakistani side, Commodore, when those videos were leaked of the Indian Air Force pilot.
Yeah, it should be taken to the UNO. It should be taken to the internationally as to what they have done. This is a gross violation, and it's a serious matter.
Yes.
And that is why we on our side have completely cancelled it, and we are taking them straight back to Delhi. It is he is not a piece of piece which has to be shown. So this is something very derogatory which they have done. So,
and which is something that the international community, I'm sure, is also closely watching, given that it is a treaty which has to be respected by the parties that have signed it, the Geneva Convention being violated by the Pakistani side when those videos of the Indian Air Force pilot were leaked. But that, of course, is something that we will be talking about. Right now, all eyes on the Wagah Attari border, where the wing commander Abhinandan Varthaman is all set to walk through in just a short while from now. Of course, Indians have been eagerly awaiting this moment ever since that announcement came in from the Pakistani Prime Minister yesterday that the wing commander will be released, will be returned to India. It's been a long wait. It's been close to 12 hours since Indians have been lining up, of course, at the border as well to witness this moment, to catch a glimpse of the Indian Air Force pilot.